Our lesson today is section 2.3 on adding and subtracting rational numbers. And our learning target is I can add and subtract rational numbers with like denominators and decimals. Remember, a rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. Whole numbers, most decimals, and all fractions are included. Take notes just like we normally would in class. So I want to give you a visual, a reminder about what it actually means to add fractions together. So what I have is 3/8 plus 4/7, and I've drawn this pie. And in the pie, we have 8 slices. So what this is saying is that one person comes up to the pie, and they were really hungry, and they ate 3/8 of the pie. That means that they ate 1, 2, 3 slices of the pie. Another person comes up to the pie, and they were even more hungry. They ate 4/8 of the pie. They ate 1, 2, 3, 4 slices out of the 8. So the question is, how much of the pie has been eaten total? And we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 8 pieces. The answer would be 7/8. So if we look at, instead of drawing a picture for each problem, what we did is we added the top numbers together, but the bottom numbers stayed the same. So here are 3 steps when we're adding and subtracting with like denominators. Write these down. Step 1 is we add the numerators. Remember, the numerators are the top numbers. Step 2, keep the denominator the same. And step 3 is to simplify or reduce if needed. Remember, you can use your notes on a quiz, so if you copy these steps down very neatly, it could be very helpful. Hit pause if you need more time to write. Our first problem is 7/13 plus 11/13. So step 1 says to add the numerators. So I'm going to add 7 plus 11. 7 plus 11 is 18. And the denominator stays the same. And then we have to simplify or reduce if needed. This is an improper fraction. The bigger number is on top, so we can't leave it like this. This means that more than one whole was eaten of our pie. So how many times does 13 go into 18? It goes in once. We've eaten one whole pie because 13 out of 13 makes 1. So 13 goes into 18 one time with a remainder of how many? 5. 5/13 are left over, and we've simplified and reduced. So you try. Copy this problem down, hit pause, try it on your own, and when you've finished, hit play again to compare your answer to mine. Here's what I came up with. -3/8 plus 7/8. So I added the top numbers. The good guys won by 4. The denominator stayed the same. And then they had a 4 in common, so I simplified. I divided the top by 4, and I divided the bottom by 4. I get 1/2. So now we're going to add and subtract with decimals. Copy these steps down. Number 1, line up the decimals with the larger number on top. Number 2, add or subtract like normal. Step 3, slide the decimals straight down into our answer. Hit pause to copy these steps down. So it says to put the larger number on top. So 2.25 is the larger number. The smaller number is 1.9. And I'm going to fill in a 0 behind the 9. So now I have to decide if I should add or subtract these numbers. I have 1.9 bad guys, and I have 2.25 more bad guys. I have a whole bunch of bad guys. How many bad guys do I have altogether? In order to find out how many I have total, I need to add these. I just have to remember that my answer will be negative at the end. So we're adding. So it says to add like normal. So we start with 5 plus 0 makes 5. 2 plus 9 is 11, and I carry my 1. 1 plus 2 plus 1 makes 4. And my decimal point slides straight down in place right there. So it's 4.15. But remember, they were all bad guys. My answer is negative 4.15. Let's try another one. 33.5 plus x when x equals negative 48.2. So this problem says 33.5 plus a negative 48.2. So it says to put the larger number on top. 48.2 is bigger than 33.5. But now I have to decide if I should add or subtract. So I have 33.5 good guys, and I have 48.2 bad guys. I know the bad guys are going to win, and I need to figure out by how many. I need to subtract them to figure out how many extra bad guys there are. So we're going to subtract like normal. I can't do 2 minus 5, so I have to borrow from the 8. I make it a 7. That makes the 2 a 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Then I do 7 minus 3 is 4. And 4 minus 3 is 1. And my decimal point slides straight down between the 4 and the 7. 14.7. But remember, the bad guys won the battle, so it's negative 14.7. Last slide, it says to find the sum. Remember that sum means to add. Now what makes this one interesting is that one of my numbers is a fraction and one of my numbers is a decimal. In order to add them, they both need to either be fractions or they both need to be decimals. And it's up to you which way you'd rather do it. I think I'd rather put them in decimals, especially since we're memorizing a lot of the easy fraction to decimal conversions. 3/5 is one of those. 3/5 is the same thing as negative 0.6. So this problem really says negative 0.6 plus 1.5. So since I have decimals, I'm supposed to put the larger number on top and the smaller number on bottom, and I have to line up my decimal points. Now I have to decide if I should add or subtract them. I have negative 0.6 bad guys, and I have 1.5 good guys. So I know the good guys are going to win, but I have to figure out how many extra good guys there are. So I have to subtract to find the difference between them. So when I'm doing this, I have to borrow from the 1, I make it a 0, so the 5 becomes a 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. My decimal point slides down, and 0 minus 0 is just 0. We get 0.9. And remember that the good guys won this battle. 0.9 or 9/10. You try the second problem. Hit pause, try it on your own, and then hit play to compare your answer to mine. Here's what I came up with. I decided to write 1/4 as a decimal, 0.25. So I put the larger number on top and the smaller number on bottom, and I did my subtraction. I decided to subtract because there were 3.5 bad guys and 0.25 good guys, and I needed to figure out how many extra bad guys there were. So I subtracted and got 3.25. But remember that bad guys won the battle, so the answer is negative 3.25.